Now, students, we are going to study glutamate receptors. These receptors are also known as NMDA receptors, where NMDA is N-methyl D-aspartate receptor. For these receptors, for both glutamate and NMDA acts as ligand. So activation of these receptors result in opening of the ion channel. As a result, there will be influx of sodium ions, outflux of potassium ions, and there will be influx of small amount of calcium ions as well. So these ligand gated ion channels are also voltage dependent. So if there will be any change in the voltage, there will be opening and closing of these receptors according to that voltage. So in addition to ligand binding sites, these receptors also have voltage sensors. Now, according to Kedzen, these glutamate receptors actually have a domain that protrudes from the receptor, and this extension of this receptor, which is the domain for the ligand binding, which is the domain for glutamate binding, is known as fly trap. When there is trapping of the glutamate in this fly trap, there will be the opening of the central pole. So as a result of this opening, there will be influx of the ions. Now, according to Kedzen, there are three basic binding sites for the drugs on these receptors. First is this extension, this fly trap. This fly trap may act as a site for the ligand binding. Secondly, these ligands may bind themselves on the membrane embedded portion which is around this pore. Thirdly, these ligands or these drugs may bind themselves within the pore, and as a result, there will be opening of the channels. Now, according to research, glutamate receptors are also metabotropic receptors. In addition to inotropic receptors, these glutamate may bind themselves to receptors which are metabotropic. It means they are associated with a G protein. So in the case of glutamate receptors, there are basically three types of metabotropic receptors. There are three types of metabotropic glutamate receptors: M, GLUR, where M is metabotropic, GLU representing glutamate, and R is receptor. So when glutamate attaches itself to GQ protein, as a result, there will be activation of phospholipase C enzyme, and due to which there will be formation of two second messengers, that is IP3, which is anisotol 1,4,5-triphosphate and diacylglycerol. Due to this increased production of IP3, there will be increased influx of calcium ions into the cell through calcium channels. Additionally, there will be increased release of the calcium from endoplasmic reticulum, which is present inside the cell. So in that case, there will be increased release of calcium from endoplasmic reticulum into the cell. So in this case, there are two sites for the calcium entry. First one is through the calcium channels from external to internal. Then secondly, from within the cell, there we have endoplasmic reticulum. Due to this IP3, this endoplasmic reticulum will release the calcium from endoplasmic reticulum into the cytosol. Then additionally, what DAG will do? Due to this, DAG will cause the activation of an enzyme which is PKC. This enzyme activation, protein kinase C, will result in the phosphorylation of the proteins. Now, if these glutamate, which are group 2 and group 3 receptors. Now, first we were discussing group 1 receptor, which were attaching themselves to GQ protein. Now we are discussing group 2 and group 3 receptor. If these glutamates attach them to a metabolic receptor, metabotropic receptor that is associated with GI protein, in this case, we are talking about group 2 and group 3 metabotropic glutamate receptors. So in this case, binding of the drug, binding of the glutamate to the receptor will result in activation of GI protein, which is the inhibitory protein. And this result, there will be decrease or there will be inhibition of an enzyme, which is adenyl cyclase. Due to inhibition of this enzyme, there will be no conversion of ATP into cyclic AMP. So we can say that these metabotropic glutamate receptors act by two processes. In the first case, they will link or associate themselves with GQ protein. Secondly, they will interact with the GI protein. Now, this is the diagram which is representing that these proteins, these glutamates are actually interacting with two different type of G proteins. First one is GI protein and second one is GQ protein. If these are attaching or interacting with GQ protein, in that case, there will be increase in flux of calcium. While in the case of GI protein, there will be decreased cyclic AMP level in the cell. So there will be decreased phosphorylation. Now, coming towards the voltage gated ion channels. These are the channels for which the actual change in the membrane potential act as a sensor, act as a stimulant for opening or closing of the receptors. So these voltage gated ion channels also possess a ligand gated binding site. For example, if we talk about anesthetics, these binding of the anesthetics with the voltage gated ion channel will result in the inhibition of influx of sodium ions. As a result, there will be decrease in neuronal conduction. So basically, membrane potential act as a control for the voltage gated ion channels. Mostly drugs which we study in pharmacology actually interact with the ligand gated ion channels. In this lecture, we have studied that voltage gated ion channels, in addition to having voltage sensors, also have ligand binding sites. So in today's lecture, we studied about ligand gated ion channels and voltage gated ion channels. So here again, I'm discussing that these drugs, when bind themselves to a voltage gated ion channel, this binding site for the drug binding is different. These drugs will definitely not bind themselves with the voltage sensors. So these drugs bind at a site which is different from the charged amino acid that constitute the voltage sensors. So what is voltage sensor? Voltage sensor is actually charged amino acid portion which will sense change in the voltage. As a result of this change in voltage, there will be regulation of the opening or closing of the channel. Here is the example verapamil. Verapamil actually bind themselves to voltage gated calcium channel. As a result of this binding, there will be inhibition of influx of calcium ions. As a result, there will be reduction in blood pressure and there will be antiarrhythmic effect. So this is the diagram which is representing that we have a voltage gated ion channel, and there we have three basic parts of the channel. First one is the central pore, which will open or close as a result of change in the voltage. Secondly, we have voltage sensor. This area which is in blue color is representing a voltage sensor which will sense change in the voltage. And thirdly, we have selective filter which will allow which will deal that which type of ion will enter into the cell. So in today's lecture, we have studied voltage gated ion channels and ligand gated ion channels.